been in TLC or something.
I sure.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Worst Ones podcast. My name is Rudy Wilson. I am one of your hosts. Joined as always by the other demons, Janessa, Rowland, and Kellie Lee. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
How's everybody since the last conversation? I know is it everybody forgiving me about my thoughts on Christmas and the torture that I put everybody through last week?
Rudy, we're gonna get you a gift next year.
No, you guys still praying about that conversation? Still? Gotcha.
I'm like, is this for real?
What's crazy is I had no intention on even like talking about it. I just think the whole conversation or whatever, and I don't even know. Because I was even trying to watch it back, and I was like, how did I even get on this? But yeah, it became a thing.
And I can't wait to watch it. Risa texted me like, oh, your conversation last week was so good. I really enjoyed it. Your brother.
That's my job. Stir things up, get everybody all riled up. Well, I'm glad to have you guys back. I'm glad you guys didn't quit and just tell me to blow off or whatever. Fun fact, this has nothing to do with anything, but it just popped in my mind, so I want to say it. Fun fact, or maybe unfun fact about something about LA. Did you know that the house that they use for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the outer shell that they use, they filmed in a studio, but they used a real house. So for one, that's not only not in Bel-Air, but number two, it's literally right around the corner from the house that OJ or whoever killed Nicole.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
It's literally the same neighborhood.
So back in the day when I went to LA, my dad is really into the tour thing. Mm-hmm. And so we had a celebrity bus tour and we drove past the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air house and they played the theme song. Me and my sister were super hyped. But, now looking back, I'm just like, wait.
Yeah.
OJ?
Yeah.
No,
because we literally did we did back-to-back stops. Like my mom wanted to see both places, and we hit the Fresh Prince house first, and then we went right. I mean, when I say around the corner, I mean it was maybe a 3-minute drive or so, 3-4. I mean, it wasn't like 2 blocks. It wasn't like the next house, but it was literally in the same neighborhood. Like we didn't go far, and it was right around the corner. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, but not in neither house is in Bel-Air. So there goes that. But
right, the Fresh Prince of
right. It was like Brentwood. I forgot what it was. That was called something. Risa knows way more about California than me, and she's been here probably 8 months less.
Wow.
So,
it sounds like Risa. She like to get out,
and I don't. So there you go. And then the pandemic just gave me even more reason to stay inside. So it's pretty sad. Anyways, to move on to the topic that we were supposed to talk about last week, that we are going to revive today, which actually is a lot more fun than even last week's topic. And I thought of this because we though we all had different experiences. We all have had some level of experience in reference to just say, or direct experiences to our being a pastor's kid title or position or whatever the case may be. So and I'm saying that specifically, we've had life experiences outside of that. I'm not saying we're pinned down to just whatever. Because I think maybe even, and this is no discredit to any of our dads, but I think maybe even if one of our dads were just say a TD Jakes or Creflo Dollar, I think that would even be a whole nother conversation to, whatever that was. You know what I'm saying? So being that we didn't have to necessarily deal with that, I don't think that, we necessarily just say had the same experience, but I think that we could have had that same experience if our dads in the preaching world were that, or if they were, just say Kevin Hart or somebody. And not that you have to choose Kevin Hart specifically, but just that level of fame. Somebody like, what if you were in a position where when you were born, like your dad was this Michael Jordan level of a person. You know what I'm saying? You don't know him as anything else. Like he's just, but like, so all you know is private jets. All you know is whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So I'm posing this question. I'm pulling up on the screen because for one, I'm just curious to know what would be your ideal thing? Because everybody may not have the same choice in the sense of what type of parent you want to choose, like what type of entertainer you want them to be, and then what type of life would you want it to look like. And I want to just throw this in here, and I'm gonna shut up because this is a very long-winded question. If you did not want to choose entertainer, but you would just say you would want to choose your dad to be the preacher, but just say the Bishop T.D. Jakes level, then what would you? I guess what would you want? What would you think that would look like? I guess. So that's my two questions. What would you want the entertainment to look like? But if you chose the whole Bishop T.D. Jakes side, what do you think that would like? How would that differ from what you currently experience? I had to talk myself through that question.
No problem. One quick thing. Did you make up EK? Is EK something you made up?
Because we're PKs. I just said EK. I mean,
did you make that up, or is that a real word?
No, that's why I put it in parentheses. I knew nobody would know.
It's the K Club. All the kids.
Right. All the kids.
So for me, I would say this. I mean, I go the whole celebrity route. Like for me, I think like if I had like a celebrity parent prior to me being an adult now, like if I'm thinking about the child version of me, I would have definitely taken the football star or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I would have definitely taken the over like acting or anything else, even being president or something like that. Like I don't know if I would want like a Barack Obama level of dad, but like if my dad was like to just say Emmett Smith, Jerry Rice, whatever, just some legend who played football, like I wouldn't mind that. Not that I would necessarily have to follow his footsteps and be the next with him, but I'm just saying like if I would choose, I would have definitely chosen that. And especially back then, I mean, I would have definitely, because I mean, I like toys and all that type of stuff. So I mean, I would have just been probably spoiled or something. I don't know. I don't know. I think it would have been lit. But if I would have take the famous pastor dad, I think my life in general would have been different. Because like one good thing about me, and I don't know if this is a good thing for my dad or not, but it worked out for me. It was that my dad never like during my childhood never reached a level of like this, humongous platform as far as being like a pastor. So like even amongst the people like in just say his 100 to 200 people size church, but then even on top of that, how he is, like I never felt the pressure to be like, yo, you have to do this because you're the pastor's son type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I never really felt that. So being that I didn't get that, I don't think I would be as bold to make some of the moves that I've made in the sense of like, you just say stepping out on faith in a lot of different areas. If I would have had that type of pressure, I don't know if I would have tried to choose my own path. I might have would have just, followed that type of footstep. And that's whether he would have been a football player or a preacher. I think I probably would have chased after his legacy type of thing as opposed to my own. So I guess I'm kind of glad that he didn't become famous at either, I guess. Selfishly. Yeah. So that's my answer.
Well, mine kind of sort of is similar to yours, but only because my dad was an athlete. I don't think y'all probably know, but my dad missed the Olympics like by this much. I think he came in 4th place or something.
Oh, wow.
For high jump. But I think if he was like a professional track, whatever he did in high school in Georgia Tech, I think it would have helped me, like, at least with eating healthier and like being in shape, having like trainers or a regimen or something like that. I think the pressure, like having spotlight pressure, would be different. Like you would get the benefits of being with a professional athlete, but it's not like who's a famous sports kid, like it, it wouldn't be that type of spotlight where you can't be yourself or do something or make a mistake and the whole world, like if Sasha or Malia Obama did something, like we would all know, there would be think pieces on it, like it would be a whole situation. But I think, like I said, you would have the benefits of being a celebrity athlete's daughter without all the constraints that maybe other celebrity kids might have. I don't know if I would follow my dad into sports though. I mean, I was quite athletic till I got injured, but I don't know if I would do that. When I got injured?
Yeah.
Like 11. So y'all know I was a gymnast for many, many years.
Oh, you sure was?
Huh?
I said you sure was. I do remember.
I was, and I tore a tendon in my knee, and the recovery wasn't. It was just too much for 11. I was kind of at that age where you had to decide if you wanted to do the stay at home or homeschool and like live in the gym all day type of lifestyle. And I just didn't want to do it because I remember when I was on team, like we couldn't go to sleepovers. Like, we were told gymnastics was life. And like at 11, is it, is it, or is Spice Girls life? Like, but I did continue to play basketball. I did actually do track. I threw the shot put in the discus. But it wasn't something career, college, professional, nothing at all. So yeah. Now in terms of like super pastor mega church, I probably wouldn't have done well. I wouldn't have done well. I know growing up, I was very rebellious and I didn't see the bigger picture. I didn't see what my parents were trying to do. And I was a handful. And I feel like if I was in a mega church, it would just be amplified. Like it would have been all bad. I would have been in trouble all the time. Someone would be reporting me to my parents all the time. I'm glad that he wasn't.
Agreed.
I'm glad he wasn't. I feel like even with the level of my dad's church now, but I think the bigger stress that I sometimes feel is not necessarily just my dad's church. It's kind of like the Atlanta church community because, all of our parents are friends and there are other pastors and preachers friends. So it's not, sometimes I feel like for me, it's not just my own church. Like I can be out and about and somebody will recognize me. And I might not even know who they are. They'll just be like, you look just like your daddy. Or you're Pastor Rowland's daughter. Or, oh, I knew your parents before they were married. Like you get all of that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah. Yep. Don't know who you are, but oh yeah, you did.
Right.
And so sometimes, not now, because I'm older, I'm grown, like you could tell my parents if you want to. They're not gonna do anything, but there was a time where I had to be really conscious, like, of what I did. You never know who's watching and who it's gonna get back to and all of that. I spoke too much. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, you're fine. I agree. Like, I wouldn't want the mega church, mega pastor, president lifestyle at all. I think we've talked a little bit about how just on this much smaller scale, And like you just talked about, like you see people in the grocery store who know who you are, you have no idea who that, like Sasha and Malia. I mean, Sasha did the TikTok video when people were talking about like they care about every boyfriend. Man, nobody got time for all that
at all.
And so definitely not. I bought Sarah Jakes Roberts' book, because I know that she has a life story and experience that I definitely, this was before we even started this podcast, but just wanted to hear about her life as a preacher's kid and what that looked like for her. I know she got
I love her.
young,
Just want to say that.
Sarah,
we love you. I love you.
And so I want to, and now that we're having this conversation and I'm thinking about it, I may pick up that book, to really read it, because I want to see what her experience, was, especially having a dad as big as Bishop Jakes. Don't want that life at all. I am definitely not at all. Like, even on this small scale here, like I said, and I've always said, I'm super proud of my dad being a pastor. I love what he does. But in the small, like you said, a metro Atlanta area, it becomes a lot. And so I enjoyed when I moved to Delaware and I can just live my life, and I could just be Kellie. Because even now, oh yeah, that's Kellie Lee. Lee with it.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Are there black people in Delaware, just out of curiosity?
There are black people in Delaware.
But I'm saying, but you know what I mean? Like is there like is there like black areas? So
there's definitely black areas. There's the hood of Delaware with all the black. Yep, definitely. But it's not, to me, Delaware isn't as, of course it's not as, there's black people, but it's not as cultural as like an Atlanta or a Philly or a Baltimore, those type of things. But they're definitely, at that time in life, I like to, and I still do like to go out and hear music, and I can't dance, but I like to dance. It was a hard time for me in Delaware to find some place to go and dance and not have to you hear a good mix. Right. I may get 2 or 3 black songs thrown in there.
Right. Over the techno.
Exactly. But I enjoyed that time in Delaware because I was able to just be me. No one knew anything about me. I was just me.
Right.
So if I could choose an entertainer's kid,
well, you're not choosing a kid.
I can choose a parent. If I was an entertainer's kid instead of a preacher's kid, if I could choose an entertainer's parent, it'll probably be, I don't know, because I think something that's important for me too is time, and the time spent. And so I know we talked about before on podcast too that sometimes like my dad just was there but wasn't available, or I was in church, or those type of things. And so when you presented this question, I was really trying to think, what profession kind of gives you a little more time? Is it like acting? Like you audition a couple times, you get this big film, so you may be gone for 2 or 3 months, but then maybe you're home for 2 or 3 months. I don't know what that life looks, but it definitely would be something where I can get time. I do enjoy a life of luxury. So when I look at
don't we all?
Yes. So I'm definitely good with maids and chefs and butlers and first class vacations on the private island that we own, and I'm here for all of that.
Not the maids and the chef.
I'm here for all of that.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I still don't know what entertainer I'm talking about, but the one that the money is long, the time is I can get my time and attention. That entertainer.
Something I think about in terms of the entertainer umbrella, because I agree with you, Kellie. I would want some time too, or something that's not so demanding where, you're gone 6 months out the year. And maybe, I don't know, but maybe it's like, Rudy, maybe you can fill us in.
I'm listening.
What do TV execs do? Is it super away from your family? I'm trying to think. What's that guy? He does all the TV shows.
Black guy.
Jerry. Dang. I can't think of his name. It's gonna come to me. But like the TV execs. Like who in the industry are like the top people who make like top dollar, but who aren't like actors who actually have to be on set all the time or doing like hard, heavy lifting like that.
Remember that whole explanation I gave you before we started about like the distribution company or the studio? Like, so somebody who has a TV show still needs somebody. Those are the people who own that. Cause see, like it's literally, it's crazy the levels to this. So like a BET, right? And I'm just using them just random. This is no kudos or shot to them. I'm just using BET. So BET is a channel that's owned by a company called Viacom, right? Mm-hmm. But everybody knows about Viacom because Viacom also has them, NTV, whatever it is. Viacom is still the big name. But what people don't realize is Viacom is also owned by somebody else who nobody even thinks about, but unless you just have money. And I've looked this up recently. And so to answer your full question, the person who owns the company that owns Viacom, that owns BET, now granted, they old, but they are the people who are doing absolutely nothing.
Them.
I don't want those parents. Yep. Them. Those are my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because
they the right age anyway.
Because, let me tell you the benefit. Because one, I can run wild, and only people in like a small select circle know who I am. I have the money in the pool, like, oh, that's Kellie Warner. That's the Warner Brothers, you know. You know what I'm saying? So I can get into, all of the, the award shows and the concerts and the sports games and all of those because I got the money in the pool, but no one really knows who I am.
Right.
And so they're not digging into my life. Like I want that life. Like you don't necessarily even have to know who my parents are. Because they in the background, but that money is long. Is really what I want. Because, for example, and this is all the talk culturally right now, Lori Harvey. And so everybody is deep in Lori Harvey, does she belong to the streets? Do the streets belong to her? How many men she has dated over the last year and a half, the caliber of men that she dated, the relationships between the men that she's dated, and everyone has an opinion on her because she's Steve Harvey's daughter. There's a lot of women that have dated 8, 9, 10 men in the span of a year and a half, and we don't care. But because she's Lori Harvey, because she's Steve Harvey's daughter, and because Steve Harvey has, he some sort of relationship, I don't know, expert or whatever he's called himself. People have a lot to say. I don't want that life. I don't want to be Lori Harvey.
Gotcha. I
don't want you to dig and pry and think that you can have opinions on my life.
Right.
And I think with Lori also, like, even if she wasn't dating them, she could just, I don't know, be at the mall. She probably not at the mall, but she could just be out with somebody and all of a sudden it's a headline.
Right.
She's dating this person. And it's just like, no, I actually just had lunch with a friend and then he came by to drop his auntie off, like, I don't know, her cell phone.
But what if that's the price that you have to pay to have the life that you're talking about, Kellie? Because mind you, the realistically for the people who I was talking about to be y'all's parents, y'all would need to be a couple decades older. Because these people old, like no joke. The man who was the owner of this top company I was just talking about literally just died in 2020. And he was like, it was high, like 85 plus or something like that. So now his wife just took over, whatever. Like, so like.
Is that Tori Spelling's dad?
I don't know who that is, but that doesn't sound Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
He had a whole bunch of stuff of TV stuff.
Yeah, but see, like this company, like they literally don't even like own like any network. They just own the people who own the networks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's type of thing. But as far as your age right now, you could have a father, Steve Harvey's age, which I'm sure all our fathers are probably around Steve Harvey's age, where you could have that type of access to what you're talking about, the butlers, the whatever, blah, 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 blah. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But there's two things that's going to be required. Number one is going to be that time, which is why I brought this up. Is the time sacrifice worth it to you? Because Kellie, I heard you bring that up. Mm-hmm. You want the time, whatever the case may be, but you also do want the lifestyle. And in my opinion, I feel like it's very hard. Like there's such a balance when it comes down to success in which like what should be your approach, what should not. Because I was even watching this movie today. This is kind of a sidebar, but still on subject. Have y'all ever seen the movie Whiplash?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so long story short, it's literally about this really intense band director. It's a really good movie. But basically the way he treats the people like in his band, it's a very harsh way, but it's to push. It's almost like he's like the Joe Clark of like this band, if you would. Like he's very, very intense. You know, cuss you out, insult you, whatever like that. But his band is the best. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say I feel like even though that's not necessarily like who I am naturally as a person, I feel like the people who do that, whether you're coaching a team, whatever like that, the people who are the hardest on people, you get the best results because when something like you said earlier, Kellie, when you're forced to do something, you get results. You know what I'm saying? But anytime you give people an open lane to make their own decision or when something gets done, whatever like that, you get those type of results. So I say that to say, bring it back to the parent in the time. If your dad was to create a success like a T.D. Jakes or even like a Steve Harvey, and either of their lanes, a lot of time was required for them to be away from their families to attain that. You feel what I'm saying? Like there's no way that they could have gotten that without putting in the time. Now, the older you get, as well as the older the kids get, you can now back off because you built it to a place where other people can do those things. But that time is required. So my question is the time sacrifice worth that lifestyle that you're talking about, the butlers and stuff, or would you much rather just have the time if you could only choose one or the other?
So, and to your point just a moment ago, like you said, the time that it takes in the beginning to build, and by the time, they get to this place where you can have the butlers and chefs or, whatever, they're older. And so I'm older and I require less time, because at 33, I require less time from my father than I did at 13. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. That's a great question, but a hard question. But I think at the end of the day, I would want the time. I would love to see a way if there's like a healthy balance, of the two, But
I'm just asking in this scenario, if you could only have one, I understand you would want both, but if you could only have one, like, we got the lifestyle, but daddy got to be gone, or he here all the time, but we just average Joe. Like, I ain't saying you got to be poor, you know what I'm saying, but you don't have the butler and the private whatever.
Right, because I'm an average Joe now.
Right.
Me too.
I'm just average.
Right.
That's an excellent question. I mean, I think the correct answer is the time. And I think my answer is the time.
Me too.
It is, and because I was just blessed, or I am just blessed with just such a phenomenal father, that I would have to choose the time.
Let me ask you this, just to play before you answer, Janessa, just to play devil's advocate, Kellie, because I'm not gonna say you've complained, but you've mentioned about your father's time before, whether even if he was there, he was on the phone, like it wasn't like a direct or whatever like that. So, do you think that your mind would change if you would have just experienced that same lack of time, if not more, but the result of it was just say the Lori Harvey lifestyle, not her dating men, but I'm saying
Gotcha.
the money. Because you had a lack of time and you had a good life. You didn't struggle at all, but you didn't have that, is what I'm saying. So do you think that level could have convinced you to be willing to deal with the time more, or do you still think even with that you would still take the time?
So you're, just to clarify, you're saying like if we had the same amount of time or lack of time that we actually did, but it came with the money and fame, will we still choose time over money?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Correct.
I have to think about that one. Janessa seems like she got a hold of the question. Go ahead.
No. Well, to answer Rudy on that question, if I could have the lifestyle that I actually did have growing up and have the butler and the chef, I would take it, because I really feel like what I was going to say before you asked the question is I really feel like my dad, even though he wasn't always present or always there, like the things that he taught me, and like when we did actually have time together, it was quality. It was like top-notch quality. And like I find myself even today, you know, I might be in situations and I'm just like, it don't even faze me because my dad taught me. I think it has something recently to do with like a car battery and corrosion. And I was like, oh, let me get some Coke. Oh, I need to check the water in it. You know, like, oh, I need to make sure, like, and I remember the guy was like, why, how do you know about this?
Right.
They were trying to get me, a run around. And I was like, oh no, my dad taught me, like daddy lessons. Okay. Y'all have, man lessons, or I don't know how to be a man. My dad taught me how to be it all. Okay. So I appreciate the time we did have.
Gotcha.
It was quality, even though it wasn't 24/7 sometimes. But if you want to give me the chef, the maid, the driver, the personal stylist, the PJ, the private island.
Listen, yes.
Me and Jessica and DJ will be just fine. And my mama. And the dog. We will all be fine. Shoot, I would invite y'all. Come on.
I'm on the way. Bags packed on the way.
Right. It'll be the PK vacation. Kelly, you want to go?
You don't even have to ask.
Bora Bora this weekend? Girl, the plane leaves at 2:30. Come on.
You don't even have to ask. But yeah, I mean, like Janessa said, I think, because I actually spent a good amount of time with my dad, because he was a youth pastor, and so a lot of the things we were youth related, like I was with him, a lot of the time. I just had to share him with everyone else, and so, I don't know. Like I said, time is still. Because what's important to me, and if my future husband is out there listening, this is what's important to me. I'm telling you tips. Here we go. Listen, is to know that you'll be there when I call.
Right.
That's important. To know that you're accessible. That I can access you, that I can call you, that you'll be there, that you'll show up. I always knew that from my father. Now I may have to call him 2-3 times. He may be a little late.
Right.
But I know he's going to come.
Yes.
And I think that's important to me. But yeah, I mean, if you could balance out, the time that was already taken and give me the luxurious things. Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, my parents sit at a different position now financially than they did when I was younger. Of course, in progression of life, most people, make more money as you get older. At least you would hope so. You make more money. And so my father has made more money as he has transitioned from youth pastor to associate pastor to senior pastor. And so I've been able to access in my adulthood a little more luxury than I was, growing up. And I take full advantage of it. But no, like I said, time is important. Knowing that that someone is going to show up to be there is important. And I can say that about both of my parents above all. And so again, future husband, if you're out there, I'm just giving you a tip, you know, on that first date, just come out like, babe, don't call me babe first date. But Kellie, I'll always be there. I need that consistency from the beginning. I'm sorry, I went off topic.
No, I got you. Talk to him. Talk to him.
Girl, this your platform. Use it.
Right.
And so if you listening, so at the end, I'm sorry, I went all off. So at the end, I give my Instagram, so it's private, but
so this time DM, you can reach Kellie.
Send me a little DM. Says you listen to what's this episode 8, you know, and I got you.
or if just send it to the worst ones PK. We'll get it to it. Somebody will get it. All right, we'll get it to it. If you can't get to that ground, get to that one.
Yeah, the worst ones PK.
You can send me a message and then I'll send it to Kellie because it's private.
Right. Somebody get it there. Somebody.
But while we're talking about preacher's kids, let me tell you, can I tell y'all an embarrassing part about being a preacher's kid?
Go for it.
To this. So I'm 33. I'm single. And my dad will say from the pulpit that my daughter is single and needs a man.
Wow. Come on, Kevin. Come on,
go. He won't do it while I'm there, but people will tell me later, like, oh no. Do you know your dad was soliciting men for you to do the pulpit this one?
Lord, he is trying to get married.
My dad better not. Okay, he bet not do that. First of all, I'm not single, but he bet not. Okay. I remember there was like a time where I had to tell my dad, like, look, Dad, you can't. I don't appreciate you telling like old stories about me on the pulpit. And we had to come to like an understanding because, you know, it would be like, he's in the middle of his sermon. And my daughter one day, you know, Janessa, she did. Da, 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 da. I'm just sitting here like.
Right.
So I cannot imagine my dad saying, y'all, Janessa's single.
Ready to mingle.
If you are interested, you know, come see me in the back of the vestibule when I'm shaking people's hands.
Oh man,
your dad is like, oh, go ahead, Pastor Kevin.
A mess.
Kellie, you never know that the same guy sitting there to listen to your dad. He's gonna watch this episode. He's gonna put 2 and 2 together.
Right.
He's gonna hit you up. That's
the worst ones, PK.
The worst ones.
Yeah.
I would say for me though, real quick, just thinking about it, I definitely would have like sacrificed the time for the whole like, you know, lifestyle situation.
You would have sacrificed the time?
Yeah, I would yeah, my sacrifice time with my dad for the lifestyle.
Luxury.
But at the same time, I'm trying to think to myself realistically, like, would that have ever got? Because we're not talking about like 1 year. We're talking about like you know, elementary school, middle school, high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still a kid. You still got soccer games, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Gymnastics for you blew your knee out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, like these are all things. You know, so I'm trying to think like, would that sustain me? I don't know. I've never been rich. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
But you talked about before, Rudy, about how your dad came to all your games, your football games, even in college. You know, imagine your dad not being there. You know,
I hear that, but this is where my personal unbalance is in my answer is because like my dad can show up to every game, but we never spoke leading up to or even after that until the next game type of thing. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I didn't feel any type of way because of it. Like, I'm talking when it was happening. Like, I was just in college, he was back home doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like we just But like when he would come to the game, we would talk, we would, eat, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We'd have a swell time. But then once he went back, like there would be a gap, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't because of him, being Steve Harvey. We just wasn't having the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying for me, like I don't know. I don't know how I would feel because like I'm not really needy when it comes down to time, at least not from my parents. But like at the same time, you do appreciate it. I don't think I would never want it to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I would definitely love the luxury for sure. But could I sustain it for 18 years type of thing? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Sometimes, like, I like my childhood the way it was.
Right.
But if my dad today came into some, like, a lump sum of money or he, whatever, that would be great. I mean, I'm just saying because I feel like, well, I don't really know because I didn't live that, but my parents were very old school, strict. Like, I don't know if they had money when we were younger, if it would really be that different,
Right.
I don't know if I would have gotten to party more or go shopping or whatever you do when you got money when you're younger. But as an adult, I can do some things today. Okay? I got places to go and buy and things to do, people to see, food to be ate,
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if that really would have mattered that much if I was younger. It might have actually been more isolating because how many people, live that lifestyle. But then I guess the further question would be like, would you be rich or an entertainer's kid and still live the life that we actually lived growing up? Or would you be taken out and put into a bubble with other entertainers' kids?
You could get a trash parent. Like, what if your dad had? Well, he was in the first Friday. That was it. That's the last. That's all he ever did. Like, what I'm saying? Like, he had one person everybody know from way back when. On the little hood classic movie. Like, that's an entertainer's kid. And they ain't rich, and they daddy there.
I don't want that life. I'm good with this one. I'm good right here.
And I only bring that up because I went to school with kids who are entertainer kids. And they seemed, at least the ones that I know, seemed very normal. They weren't really stuck up or I'm better than you or I got on my Birkenstocks today, Payless or whatever it was. Like, I don't know.
Quick question out of curiosity for both of y'all. If you did grow up rich, and I'm saying like your parents could leave you an empire rich. So like just say like if your dad was Jordan, and you could get a job, being one of the top people at Jordan, whatever, just because it's your dad, whatever the case may be. Would you have still went to college? Like if you had that type of access, or was your college strictly because of like to better yourself to get a good job type of thing? Or was college like a goal on your bucket list that you always, still wanted, whether money would be in the picture or not?
I probably would not have gone to college straight out of high school.
Okay.
I probably not. I may have gone to college at some point. But straight from high school like I did now, probably not. I mean, I probably would have graduated and traveled and had a good time for a couple of years. Because I think in average Joe's life, high school to college to job is just the way that, it's just the path that most people like us take. If I had that type of money, probably not straight out of high school. Like I said, I may have gone, eventually. And I probably still would have gone to Spelman. Yeah. But but straight from high school, and my parents didn't require it, and I had money to travel, and no.
I would have gone. I probably would have taken a gap year to, travel as a adult or whatever.
Right.
That's a whole nother conversation. Me and DJ talk about it all the time. DJ, my brother, about how he's 18. He's 20 now, but when he graduated, he thought he was grown. But then he realized quickly that he's grown with no money. Like, he's still very dependent on my parents.
Right.
So I probably would have taken a gap year to travel and just kind of be grown. But I would have gone to college because I don't know. I grew up watching A Different World, and all the TV, Love and Basketball, and like I just wanted to experience that.
Gotcha.
I probably wouldn't have majored in anything like engineering like I did. I probably would have majored in music, or something that I enjoy, but not necessarily needed for the job waiting at my father's empire, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
I would definitely, enjoy the experience. I probably would have done like one semester on campus just to kind of get that campus experience that I saw on A Different World or Love and Basketball, whatever. But then I would very much so need if I have that type of father, that penthouse down in downtown Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I probably wouldn't take like a full course load either, so that I could live that, I don't know, Atlanta socialite scene without having to worry about, I have this 10-page paper to write, I would do something like that. Not necessarily because I needed the degree for the job, just because I just wanted that experience, and I have this rich parent who can allow me to have this experience.
Gotcha.
So,
and have both experiences. No,
I would. Yeah,
that would be great. I mean, to have money in college.
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. To have money in college.
What?
To really have that experience.
Yeah.
Girl, spring break would be a whole thing.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Like, yeah, but I agree, because I definitely still wanted that college experience, especially the HBCU college experience.
But I feel the same way, because I went to HBCU as well. But
I said, come on, HBCU.
Oh yeah, right.
I would have stayed at Spelman too. I would not have transferred to Georgia Tech. I will say that.
It's all good. We still love you.
Thank you.
But for one, I mean, I learning style was more fit for HBCU, because I mean, if I was in a classroom with 500 other people, like, I would have been lost in the sauce, and just my attention span, everything. So
that was an adjustment. I will say that going to somebody, like, if you didn't do well or something, the teacher would be like, "Okay, now look, my office hours are blah blah."
Right.
You at the back of the auditorium, and it's like, see the TA.
Right.
So I agree.
Right. But like, I feel like even just going to college and all of that, it was, I'm not gonna say it was drilled in me, but like, it was always like a thought, whether it was a different world, or even whether it was like my mom saying, like, and my parents never pressed the HBCU thing, because even I was recently went to Auburn, but college was like definitely something mentioned. And I feel like if I had a dad or mom or whoever who was rich and famous, or even just rich and not famous, and didn't go to college, I don't know if I would have like, yes, I know me right now would have still wanted the experience that I got in college.
Mm-hmm.
But if I grew up differently, I don't know if college would have ever been a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because like money really changes people's perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I've never had it, but I've recently, over the last year, just studied just the habits of people with money, how they view it, blah blah blah, assets, liabilities, so on and so forth. And so for me, I can imagine that, like, if you have a father who thinks like that, because the reason why we're the Christians we are today is because our parents. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a foundation and they instilled it in us. So if they were billionaires or millionaires, they would have done the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They would have just transferred it down. And I don't know if that would have made college as attractive as opposed to somebody who, you know, because I think all of us could have been okay to some degree with just say without college. But I think not only with the experience, I think we all also had the understanding of what college meant, especially being like Black in America. You know what I'm saying? Like to help qualify yourself type of situation. But I feel like if we weren't up against that in particular, I think, I don't know, we might have just had a different perspective. We might have been like, you know, the hell with that.
It would be interesting, I think, to talk to kind of like the generations below us, because I think the world is kind of changing in general, that college degrees, I'm not going to say they're not important, but there are just other avenues today to make money, like good money, by not going to college.
Right.
And so, you know, sometimes I was actually had this conversation with somebody else. Like, I'm interested to see like my sister's kids, if their kids, you know, have the same desire to go to college that we have, just because, you know, you can be a social media influencer and make millions. You could be a YouTuber and make millions, and you can learn different skill sets literally on YouTube and make millions. You know, it's, you don't necessarily have to go to college these days to have a successful, stable lifestyle. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the future if we keep, you know, going on this trajectory.
Right. I'm clear. I'm clear on what you're saying 100%. I mean, I think some level of higher education will always exist. It may shift maybe more or less trades or whatever.
If you're a doctor, I need you.
Right. Because I mean, like I said, because you can always have teachers and all that type of stuff, but just a lot of people, I get the bad taste in their mouth with college because you get the degree and then can't find just as a job in that degree or whatever the case may be. Or even sometimes a lot of people like myself just chose a degree, which I chose business, which is, you know, fine because it's pretty broad. But I didn't, you know, I would have chose something else that I actually liked, you know what I'm saying? But I just was like, all right, business. This sounds like what everybody else talk about. Let's do it, you know? And so, I think if the curriculum changes, I think if there was more entrepreneur type stuff, more, you know, how to get a good job, but still run a side business to build my own. Well, you know, if it was more of that type of stuff, I think people wouldn't mind making the investment or getting the student loan, whatever like that, because at least I'm leaving here with a tangible plan. I can say, okay, boom, I'm walking out of here making money, and not, oh, just teach me how to go through an interview. But that's, you could be the best interviewer. If somebody want to tell you no, they can tell you no. Period, point blank. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that has to change. But we'll see. Like you said, by the time your sister's kids, you know, be there, who knows? It may be all virtual.
That is true.
We don't know. All right, cool, man. This was a good conversation. You guys with your fantasies and stuff.
Kelly, one day I'm gonna call you and be like, "Girl, the PJ leaves at 2."
Listen. I need my future husband to listen to all this.
I was about to say, PJ, your husband's on there with the butler.
leave a space on the PK jet for my husband too.
Hey, just out of curiosity, so what if the person who God showed you, like, yo, this is your husband, but what if you find out that he's been with Lori Harvey in that mix or something?
Now, if he's Michael B. Jordan, I'm good.
No, not one of the famous ones. Not one of the famous ones. Just he's not one of the famous ones. But
if he's Michael B. Jordan, then we're good. Oh, he was just kind of in between, in the middle.
Yeah. He never made the blogs, but you just find out like he was in that mix though.
He took her to coffee one time.
Now I'll be cool with that. If the Lord showed me that was my man. But I'm
no, but I'm talking about, I was in my past coffee though. Like, no, they went they made it back to home base. Is what I was saying.
No, if the Lord showed me, I'm gonna believe in the Lord.
All right, okay. Oh, gotcha.
Now, if it's Michael B. Jordan, Lord,
I believe.
good.
All is forgiven.
Right, I'm real good.
Gotcha. Well, Kelly, let Michael B. Jordan know where he can find you. If he
The worst ones, PK.
Oh God, Kelly.
The worst one's PK. That way you can find Kelly Lee.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, you can find me at JRiana _JRIANA _, or you can find me at the worst ones PK. I'll send the message to Kelly. And I am new to Clubhouse. So if y'all are on Clubhouse, I don't really know how it works, but you can follow me at JRiana, JRIANA, no underscore, just JRiana.
Gotcha.
That's it.
I've been hearing about that. So you don't know what it is enough. So if I ask you right now what is it, you can explain even a little bit. It's
like vocal people talking to each other in room.
Like an audio chat room.
Yeah, it's like an audio
chat like a Zoom, but just all audio type of thing.
Yes.
But typically what I've noticed is like a certain group of people talking, and then most of the people are mute just listening. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's a lot of people who are supposed to be experts on a certain topic or in a certain field, dropping gems and knowledge for us average Joes. The thing with Clubhouse is that anyone can kind of start a room, and so you have to kind of check credibility for yourself, because everyone wants to sound intellectual and smart and this,
right.
You know? So yeah, like I went to one the other day where they were doing live auditions for a play. For a
play?
Yep, for like a movie or something.
All audio?
And they were doing it just all audio. Yep.
It must have been an animation.
You have a picture. You have a picture as your, whatever it's called, icon thing.
Your profile pic.
Yeah, your profile pic. But yep, they did all audio. I've been to one where they were doing dating. So again, based off picture, it was like, like
catfish. Catfish.
Right.
And so, it's like your voice sounds sexy.
Yeah. and so they would pick, it was so funny because they have like moderators who kind of control the room. And so they'll have a guy. And so Rudy would be the guy, and me and Janessa would be asking girls questions. And so the girls would, they can come onto the stage, and that's how people who aren't moderators can talk. And so, Janessa and I, or Rudy, you may ask a question. If you are a homebody, lead a stage. Or if you don't go to church, lead a stage. And so, and they ask all sorts of questions, sexual questions, all sorts of questions. And at the end, Rudy, the guy, was like, "Oh no, I know I want Sasha over there." And all he saw was a picture and her voice, and she answered some questions. Wow. I don't know what happened.
Oh, Rudy, we should bring some guys for Kelly. We should do the dating game. We should get some guys, and we should bring them on the show.
Find some
Kelly.
So this has been today's episode of The Worst Ones, PK.
You gotta be a Christian. What else, Kelly? You gotta be 6'3", 6'1".
She ain't trying to say nothing.
You got to be an active member and tither of the church. Oh, that would be fun, Rudy, for real, if we could do
We'll work them out. Shout out to Terry Wayne. He'll be back next week, man. Rudy Willy Nilly Walker for me. Shout out to the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, man, it's Worst One Podcast. Follow us, man. The Worst Ones, PK. We got our own Instagram page. That's where we posting all of our content. We're going to flood it, so you make sure you show us some love there. And we'll be back, man, every single week. And we'll be back with a new topic, come out with some more guests, and keep this thing going. We out.
Bye.
Bye.